welcome to the next Charm Chat. It's been a while since I've done one of these, hosted anyway, so bear with me as I try to add everybody in. Wow, I'm really husky today. Whew, husky voice. So it's time for this month's Charmed Chat. I'm so excited to be back. We're going to be talking about Season 1, Episodes 3 and 4. Last month was super fun with Shelley. It's felt like ages waiting for this month to come around. So I'm very excited. I'm going to try to add in Shelley. Let's see if this is going to work. Fingers crossed. It doesn't. Hi everyone. Hi Karen. Hello everyone. Everyone's waving. Hello.
Hello!
Shelley!
It worked!
Hooray! We're here.
Yay! I was
Happy
enjoying
Charm Chat.
Happy Charm Chat. I've been so excited. Oh, it seems like ages. Like we've had to wait to chat more charmed.
It's this month has been the slowest month, but we're
Yeah.
finally here.
We're here. And I
Yeah.
was enjoying your husky voice then.
I don't know what's going on. I've got a winter husk.
I thought I was getting like a dirty live chat.
Yeah. This is
Oh.
my Andy the cop voice. I don't know. Has he got a husky
Ooh.
voice?
Ooh la
Possibly.
la. He has a little bit actually.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So, for those who are just joining us, every month we're going to be chatting about Charmed from the very beginning. Charmed, if you don't know, I'm sure you do, is the 90s TV series that ran from 1998 until 2006. It follows three sister witches, Prue, Piper, and Phoebe, who juggle their everyday lives with saving innocents from meddlesome demons. So last month, me and Shelley, we kicked off the Charmed chat with episodes 1 and 2 of the show's
Yeah.
first season, which was a ball and a
Oh, it
half.
was. And we got to chat
So,
all our charm memories and everything. It was
yeah,
brilliant.
it was so much fun.
It really was.
Um, and you can catch up with that chat on both of our profiles. You can go and find that first chat if you haven't been able to watch it yet. So this month, now that we've got the ball rolling, we're going to
Yeah.
dive straight into episodes 3 and 4.
Oh, what good
Um,
episodes. They were
so
so
good.
good.
I can't wait to
So
hear your
good.
thoughts.
Oh, excited.
And we're going to be breaking down each episode. So we're going to talk about episode 3 and then we're going to talk about episode 4 afterwards. And each episode we're going to break down into various categories like Sister of the Week, Love is Pain, so all about the romantic stuff that's been going on in that episode, our favourite charming dialogue. So yeah, hopefully if you've watched the episodes, you can chat along with us, give us your thoughts, let us know what you thought about the episodes. Yeah, so are you ready, Shelley?
I am. I'm so excited. Honestly, I know I sound really cheesy, but I've been so excited to chat
I
with you and everyone who's watched along as well. Just these two episodes were just so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So good.
Did you
So
did
when
you
I'm
manage
going, I'm
to hold off?
excited.
Did you manage to hold off watching them right after the first two?
Yeah, I did, but I took your advice and I got the Blu-ray,
Yes.
which I shared on my profile. So I just bought season one for now because I thought, oh, I'll see what it's like, but I'm sold. I'm gonna buy the whole run on Blu-ray because it was so clear. And obviously it's got the original music, which was my bugbear when I watched it on streaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just I even yesterday watched the first two episodes again just so I could watch them with the music and with the clearer picture.
And in
And then I went,
widescreen.
yeah, in widescreen. Oh,
Yeah.
it was brilliant. And then I went straight into episodes 3 and 4. So I had a whole afternoon of Charmed, and it was just
Oh,
the best thing ever.
best afternoon. I feel like it's a really weird experience watching it on Blu-ray because it's almost like watching the show for the first time. So you get
Yeah,
that nostalgia hit of obviously the fashion and the locations and the feel of
yeah,
the show, but also it looks really sharp and crystal clear and looks amazing.
yeah.
So you
And
get a double
also,
whammy.
you see how badly they did try and cover up Alyssa Milano's tattoo. Because on the
Yes.
Blu-ray
That
you can see
shoulder.
it so
Yeah.
clearly. Yeah, they
It looks like they
didn't.
just smeared some clay onto her
Yeah,
back.
something which obviously you would have got away with, like
Yeah.
on the TV back in the late 90s, but on Blu-ray it really shows it
It
all.
really, really does.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's start chatting about episode
Oh,
three.
oh
So,
yes.
season one, episode three is Thank You for Not Morphing. And so the sisters are thrown into turmoil when their estranged father, Victor, shows up out of the blue. While Piper and Phoebe want to get to know the father that they have no memory of, Prue is suspicious that Victor has ulterior motives, especially given his appearance coincides with them getting their witchy powers. Meanwhile, the sisters' neighbours, who look like they just like stumbled in from American Pie or
Yeah,
something,
it did look like that, didn't it?
Marshall, Fritz, and Cinder with a Cynda, which
Oh,
that's a name I've never come across before.
yeah.
Exciting. Um,
Different.
they are behaving very strangely.
Very strangely
Very
indeed.
strangely. And that's before they start to do demonic stuff, frankly.
Yeah, just like when they're their normal selves, like at
Yeah.
the party. They're
It's
already
like,
acting weird.
what's wrong with these people?
Oh, I guess it was to give you a sense of like, Although I will
Yeah.
say I didn't get that sense because I was too focused on what was going on with the dad, and I was like, oh, just lovely
Yeah.
little neighbours.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
making friends with the neighbours. They make, you know, what's that song? That's the theme tune go. Neighbours. That's when neighbours become good
Neighbours,
friends. Yeah.
everybody needs. Yeah, who don't need me singing.
Yeah.
That
Um,
one.
I feel like this is one of the very rare times that you see a neighbour's house because in season two
Mm.
you get neighbour Dan. I think in season six there's the Jenny
Oh,
McCarthy episode where there's
yeah.
sisters living across the
Yeah.
street. But this is like a very early, very rare occurrence
Mm.
where the sisters go into someone else's house in their neighbourhood.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
So let's kick things off with Sister Bond.
Yes.
It's time to fill in some backstory with their parentage for this episode.
Mm.
Daddy turns up. Prue calls him Victor. She is suspicious of him before they even find out that Phoebe has a vision
Mm.
of them handing over the Book of Shadows to Victor.
Yeah.
Piper and Phoebe go for dinner with him without Prue, which causes friction with Prue.
Mm.
So did you feel that this was sort of realistic, and whose side were you on?
Oh, good question. I did think it was realistic. Like you could really like feel the tension between the sisters over like the decisions that they're making with regards to Victor. Um like and I love how like Phoebe turned around and said she's relieved she finally has someone to talk to about her powers, as in
Yeah,
talk to her dad about her powers, and then Piper's trying to be the mediator, and then obviously Prue's so suspicious. So I kind of like the all roundness because I think if it was me, I think I would side with Prue. I
yeah,
think because you would be like, why all of a sudden is he turning up now? Just after we've got our powers, like she even says, doesn't she? He didn't turn up when the grand died.
yeah. When their mom
Yeah,
died,
when the mom died,
yeah,
and so I would be suspicious like Prue. How about you?
totally.
Would
Well,
you?
I'd kind of forgotten that they hadn't seen him for so long.
Yeah.
So they're all like in their mid-20s. Like I think
Mm,
Phoebe says she's maybe 22, and I think Prue's
yeah.
sort of like 27.
Yeah, because you get a good idea of the age gap as well at this point, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they, so I think Piper says that her last memory of their dad is having dinner with him when she was 4.
Yeah.
So it's been like over 20 years since they've seen their father. He was completely
Mm,
absent for pretty much their entire adult lives.
yeah.
So you can understand why they had really mixed feelings,
Mm,
and also having lost their mum and their grams,
yeah.
suddenly to have this new parental figure show up, it would actually be quite like a bit of a mind fuck
Oh,
for
yeah.
all of them. It's like, well, we could have this amazing relationship,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, we can't really trust him because he did
Mm,
abandon us all those years ago.
yeah, definitely. And it's so like it. I love how it teeters on the fact that it could tear. They've just all, got these powers. They've come together, to a certain extent at this point, but it could just tear them apart any minute. It's
Mm,
like teetering on the edge of
hmm.
that, and I
Yeah,
kind of like how they played with that. I thought it was quite
yeah,
quite realistic and very clever, to be honest.
yeah, and it is. It's all very in keeping with their character. So Prue is
Mm,
sort of like control freak. She can't control the situation.
yeah,
She wants to, but she can't. Phoebe is
yeah.
sort of like the eternal optimist, the dreamer, and
Mm,
so she's the first one to sort of seek him out on her
yeah.
own. And
And I
Piper,
love,
like you said, gets
yeah,
caught in the
like
middle.
in the middle. And I love Phoebe for that,
Mm,
the way that, because
mm,
obviously she mentions that she was only one when the dad left. And you kind of, that made me really feel more sorry for Phoebe in this
yeah.
episode because I thought she just doesn't, she wouldn't remember anything at all. Whereas the other two have some sort of memories,
Mm,
if not,
mm,
good memories. But yeah, so for
yeah.
Phoebe, I felt really more sorry for her
Yeah.
at that point.
It's interesting because you'd think I don't know what it would be like to be in that situation, but you almost think like, would she decide? She could have just decided that she didn't need or ever want a dad because
Yeah,
she'd never experienced having that.
yeah,
But she actually
definitely.
goes in the other direction. She kind
Mm,
of has a sort of more of a positive reaction to him turning up than
yeah,
the other two. I
yeah,
did love Piper's humor. Like I know that Phoebe is always uh, sort of talked about as the really funny one, but I feel like Piper is stealing it with so many funny
yeah.
lines. Like when there's that
I
really
thought that.
awkward moment when Prue turns up at the dinner
Mm, mm.
and Piper's like, "Wonder what's happening with the dessert."
Yeah, she does have some really good one-liners.
Yeah,
I think I appreciate them more now I'm older because I would probably be more like that and try and make like a comedy out of it.
yeah.
Like
It'll
if I can
just
to
be
ease the
okay.
tension, yeah, it'd be fine, it'd be fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Just gonna go through
uh,
some of these comments. So CL Ingram says that they didn't trust the dad.
mm,
Absolutely fair.
yeah.
Um, Speedway Chick says it's sad though because ultimately Piper and Phoebe wanted a relationship with their dad. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
definitely. And it could have just torn them apart. This could have been the divide right at the beginning of their
Yeah,
journey.
yeah,
Definitely.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
CL Ingram says I assume the dad was a demon, which is like yeah, like you
Yeah.
get that feeling right at the start. It's
Yeah. Like when he comes in with like, getting Prue to check the ring and that, and you just get like vibe straight away from him. You're like,
quite yeah, quite a weird way to reconcile with your eldest child, just to show up at work
yeah.
and sort of like try and yeah, just sort of like slightly conning her,
Yeah.
like testing the water a bit, but in like quite a creepy kind of way.
Yeah, it was creepy. And I read earlier because I was having a little look that because I was like, this is a different actor, right, to who
Yeah,
plays him down the line. So I was like, I wonder why they replaced him. And I think it's because they thought he looked too much like a love interest, I
yeah,
read. And I was like, actually, I could see that.
sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Very suave, and like when he was like getting the massage, it was a bit like he does look like someone that they would date
Yeah.
completely.
So I kind of get now why they changed him out for a different actor,
Yeah,
like down the line.
yeah.
um,
Stargazer says, I agree with Prue. If a parent isn't in your life, there's a reason most of the time. Best to let sleeping dogs lie.
yeah, very true.
Interesting, because he wasn't really warm either. He didn't really endear himself very effectively.
Mm,
He was quite because he was quite suave and quite dapper. You kind of felt
yeah,
like, oh well, your life's been all right. Where the hell have you been, Dad?
yeah, and obviously he's showing he's got money now, and I'm like, like I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah, it didn't click with me. I was
yeah,
suspicious straight away.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I saw Trina as well put she felt
Oh yeah.
bad for Prue in this one as well.
Yeah, poor
Yeah.
Prue. She does get
Yeah.
put through the ringer.
Yeah, definitely. She
Bless her.
really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Um,
C. L. Ingram just put he seemed like he was trying too hard. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. He was.
Well, because so he doesn't actually. I got a bit confused. I was not really sure why, but when the Warlocks turn up in his hotel room, was
Yeah, I was gonna
that
ask you
was
this. Like,
he already working with them, or were they blackmailing him from that point on?
see, I was hoping you would know because I thought exactly the same. I was like, because when they turned up, I was like, oh, okay, he's in on it all along. But then I got the impression that he was like, no, you can't kill me because you need me for this, that, and the other. And I was thinking,
Hmm.
wait a second. But he wasn't surprised by their appearance. So
Yeah,
obviously I was like, yes, definitely demon.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I was a little bit confused there. I wasn't sure. It'd be interesting to see what people think on that.
yeah.
Um,
I think I was confused because I've obviously watched this show a lot. So in my mind, I knew that he does end up being in some way
mm,
associated with the
yes.
Warlocks. So I just assumed that from the very beginning he was working with them.
Or
And
maybe
then
he knew of them, so he knew who they were. So
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
something like that.
If anybody was
Mm.
paying proper attention when they watch the episodes, let us know what you think.
But it
'Cause,
couldn't have been clear because we both thought the
yeah,
same thing. So it must have been. It couldn't have been clear. That's what I'm going with anyway.
I suppose the only sort of like evidence that I have that they weren't working together from the start is that if they had planted Victor
Mm,
to
mm,
try to get the book out of the house his own
yeah.
way, then they would have had no reason to keep breaking in and messing up and having to transform and all
Well,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff.
That's
So
true.
yeah,
Interesting. So it must have
mm,
been at that point in the hotel then that they were just trying to get him on board. I'm
yeah.
guessing.
So
Yeah.
like all bets are off. We've messed up.
Yeah.
Cover's blown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like, the female
yeah,
shapeshifter, like why was she
yes.
actually like because the other two didn't turn into like this weird creature
No,
werewolfy thing.
it's like
Like so why was she like was
was she like
was that
the
why they wanted
wild
the book
one?
to like try and cure
Yeah, it
her
was very unclear.
maybe? Yeah. Do you know
Their
what
sister
I
was
mean?
like really messed up, so I need
She
to
was like
fix her.
I was a bit like,
Uh,
why? Like, why
yeah,
couldn't it have been one of the boys like that? Why did it have to be the female character? This is the first time we've seen like a female warlock. I know it's
that's
only the third
true.
episode, but I was like, oh, would have been
I don't know. I kind of
interesting.
liked that it was the
Did
girl
you?
because we have so many male villains in the show and just
Yeah,
in general in the 90s
that's
that I was
true.
like, this is refreshing to have a female villain. But then the
Yeah.
second she started kind of going, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I like this, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it was, but she played a good role because, like, she did look kind of terrifying. I was like, "Oh, looks like me in the morning." That's what Kevin sees when he wakes up.
uh,
I need the Book of Shadows to help me.
comb your hair.
Honestly, true story.
Oh dear. Right, so let's have a look at the mythology.
Yeah.
So there's some deepening of the personal history of the sisters.
Mm,
We learn that Grams wanted the girls to have powers after their mum died, so when they were kids, but
mm,
Victor wanted them to be normal. And
yeah.
so he ended up leaving because I guess Grams kind of won that fight.
Mm.
Um,
I didn't
but we,
believe him though on that.
mm, interesting.
Mm,
He was banished.
yeah.
Um, we still don't know why they then didn't have their powers. We haven't
Mm,
found that out yet.
yeah.
Um, so did you find that stuff interesting, like learning about this
Yeah.
backstory for their
Like
personal family history?
I really loved, and I love that it's like episode 3 that we're still finding out things and it's developing like the mythology behind it. But as I say, I didn't believe him when he said, "Oh, I didn't want you to have your powers."
Mm,
So so that's why I left. And I just thought, no, there's something, definitely didn't believe that at all. But I
interesting.
also loved the mythology about finding out more about the Book of Shadows as well
Hmm.
in this episode. So I love the way that I think this is the first time we see the pages move to the spell that Phoebe
Yeah,
needs, and then also the fact that the Book of Shadows protects itself as well. I
yes, I
thought that
love
was
that.
really good. Yeah,
That's like a
I
little,
love
little
that.
bit of like a Sabrina the
Yeah,
Teenage Witch twist on things, like a bit of fun, bit of
yeah,
silliness.
yeah.
Like the
But I
book
loved
knows
that.
if you're evil.
Mm.
Very fun.
Yeah, so I love that part of the mythology along with finding more out about the family.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about the Book of Shadows, I think that they hadn't quite established the rules because I think in future episodes, this is so nerdy.
No, I
Look,
love
we're all
it.
here. We're all here. We all love charms.
We're
Let's
all
just be as
charm
nerdy as we
fans
like.
here.
Nothing evil can touch the book in future episodes. So
Mm.
they actually managed to pick it up and carry it all the way downstairs, and then the book wouldn't leave the house. But in future
Oh,
episodes, the book
yeah.
actually, you can't even touch it. It throws you across the attic
Yeah.
floor. You can't even get near it.
Or maybe it
Um,
just got fed up of being touched in episode 3. It was like,
yeah,
no, no more. No more touching.
calling reinforcements.
That's it. Had enough.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are theories online that the girls hadn't weren't powerful enough yet. They'd only just come into their
Ah,
powers. So the book
yeah.
wasn't as resilient. But I think that's sort of like patching over a bit of continuity.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe they got themselves into a little pickle down the line with the writing. They were like, we'll just make this subtle change and hope no one notices.
Yeah, absolutely. Retcon, retcon.
Yeah. I like to
Yeah.
think that the book just got fed up of being touched and just went into full
Get
defense
away
mode
from me. Yeah.
and keeps getting chucked around on the floor. Prue using her magic to like push it under
Yeah.
cupboards. It was
Yeah.
like, no, I've had enough
Yeah.
now.
I do love those little moments that they find for the sisters, each of them to use their power once an episode. So
Yeah,
Prue's one is
yeah,
like pushing the book.
yeah.
Phoebe obviously has her premonition, which is instrumental to the story.
Mm,
And then Piper saves the flambe,
yeah.
whatever that thing
I love
is.
that scene. That
That
was so
enormous
good.
dessert.
No, look yummy.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and of course as well there was the protection ring, which that
Yes.
does come into play later on, doesn't it, in the series? Or am I thinking of something else? I thought it did come back.
Um, there's I don't remember it being in Charmed. There is a
Oh, I must
ring
be
in
thinking of something
Buffy.
else. Oh, that must be what I'm getting confused
Yeah,
at then.
there's a special ring that Spike's trying to find in season 4 of Buffy
That
that
must,
protects him from
yeah.
daylight. Yeah.
Ah, okay. That must be what I'm thinking of. The shows blur
Yeah.
into one.
They're very different shows,
I know,
Charlene.
I know. Silly me. I just remembered when I was younger watching something and there was a ring, and yeah, I think it was Buffy now I think about it because I can picture it now.
Because Oz
And
takes it over to Angel in his show and he wears it and
yes,
he has to
that's
smash
it.
it.
That's what I'm thinking of. So
Yeah.
when I saw this ring, I was like, oh, I remember this
There
ring, but
it
obviously,
is.
yeah, obviously I got muddled up.
Yeah. That was another continuity thing where it didn't obviously they had to have some way of signifying that they trusted their dad and they'd
Mm,
figured out which one was their dad.
yeah.
But it didn't really make sense that he had to wear the ring when they were doing a spell because he wasn't evil, so he wouldn't have blown up anyway,
Well,
you assume.
yeah, which does mean that he's definitely evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do, 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 do.
Mm.
Just one more thing about the mythology. I do just
Yeah.
love the fact that the family drama itself is sort of rooted in witchcraft. So
Yes.
the
Yeah,
family
I love
drama is
that.
all tied up in the witchcraft. The girls' identities as the charmed
Mm.
ones is all tied up in their own family history. It makes them feel completely inseparable from
Mm.
their powers and who they are. and it makes
Yeah.
the theme of family sort of super important
Yeah.
to their identities as witches, which I think
Yeah.
is a really nice sort of way of
Yeah.
doing this kind of
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good point. I never kind of thought about that actually, but it is kind of nice that all their drama, like all their family drama, relates to the whole witchcraft being the charm ones thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. Speedway Chick says, "My precious." The ring. I assume that's a column.
Oh,
uh,
my precious. Yes,
Stargazer
with the
says,
ring. Yeah.
Stargazer says, "That ring, I bet it got caught everything coming and going." Yeah, it was huge. That was like
Yeah,
a statement
that
ring.
would be like I'd like flip my hair and it would get caught in my hair and I'd be
Yeah.
like,
I get caught on everything, so I
oh,
would be scared of like, yeah, catching the ring on the door handle and then
oh,
tearing off my
door
finger or
handles.
something.
They just appear,
Ah,
don't they? Like I'm covered. Like honestly, if you could see my arms, I'm covered in bruises from
no.
the door handles in this house because they just magically move and hit me.
You're cursed.
It's not me
You're
bumping
cursed,
into them.
Shelley.
I know. Oh
Sometimes
dear.
I can always tell what kind of day it's going to be if I drop something first thing in the morning. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
right, okay, that's just the day it's going to be. I'm going to drop everything today. That's fine.
Yeah, definitely. I'm the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
Just to let you know, for some reason I can't see the comments anymore. I
Oh,
don't know what I've
really?
done yet,
Oh,
so
no.
sorry about that,
I have all
guys.
the power.
Yes, I can't see that. I've done something and like there's like a nice little border gone around the chat and I've obviously
Oh,
done something and I don't know what I've
weird.
done.
Is it on your phone?
I'm on the iPad. I don't
Oh,
know what I've
right.
done. I'm just
Hmm.
not going to touch anything now in case I ruin
The
anything.
Charmed chat live was sick of you
That's
touching it, and it was like,
it.
no,
That's it. It was
yeah,
saying no, Shelley.
no, just like
No
the Book of
more.
Shadows. Shall we move on to Love is Pain?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. So, Prue and Andy continue to dance
Mm,
around each other. Andy wants to go on a date, but Prue is
yeah.
hesitant because she's nervous about Witch and Cop. That's
Yeah.
not a love connection, as she says.
Oh,
Um,
could be.
well, yeah. So, do you think Prue is being reasonable and is Andy being too pushy?
Now, talking about, okay, so in this episode, I didn't think Andy was pushy, but in the next one, which we'll get to, I did think he was.
Yeah.
So in this episode, I was more like, oh, Prue, just, stop being like, just go out with him. It's not going to hurt. But I kind of get her hesitance because she's obviously got a lot going on at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
And
New
so I
job,
kind of
started a
get
new
it. Yeah,
job,
she's got a new job,
dad
new
issues.
powers, daddy issues,
Yeah.
sister issues.
Yeah.
Obviously, trying to deal with all that. So I kind of get it. She's got a lot going on. So yeah, so I didn't think he was being too pushy in this episode, at least.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think he was okay in this one. He does kind of like the sisters are meddling a bit, like didn't
Mm.
Phoebe invite Andy to come to the party or Piper? One of them
Oh
invited him
yeah,
to come
yeah,
to that party at the start of the episode.
yeah.
So they are meddling, but
Mm.
they kind of know what Prue really wants, I
Yeah, I
think.
think
They
they're
know that
doing
she
it
wants to be with
for the
Andy.
best rather than like
Yeah,
trying to stir. They're like doing it for what they think is best for Prue, don't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also as well, like at the start, what does Prue say? I wrote it down when she's like, Prue's party tips are meet, greet, and bail.
Yeah,
And I'm like, yes, Prue.
we love you, Prue. She's
But
in
I
her
kind of think,
20s. Like
yeah, she's
she's in
like,
her prime, and she's like,
yeah.
nope.
No, but I kind of think in that respect, then with them pushing Andy a little bit, they're doing it for her own good because she just like wouldn't do anything otherwise.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Trina says
dear.
that she felt sorry, or they felt sorry for Andy, and I don't think Prue is being fair to
Oh,
him.
okay.
Yeah.
I was a
Stargazer
bit like,
thinks Andy was wanting a little more than a date. He even said it's been a month.
Oh yes, that I think that is in the episode 4 at the start. And I even wrote in
Yes.
my notes, "Oh, it's been a month since they had sex."
Mm, mm.
I was like,
Talking of
"Oh,
that, in this episode, we learn that Prue and Andy missed their own prom for
oh
reasons.
yes."
Yeah, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
CL Ingram says Prue and Andy made no sense. The demon morphed into Andy and Prue arranged a date. So was the
Oh
date with the
yeah.
real Andy? And if so, did he know?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. What happened with that? That was like
Yeah.
a storyline that was never followed up, which
Yeah.
actually I would have liked to have seen followed up, like just with Andy's confusion as like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What date? Well, then no,
Yeah,
because then they do go on a date before the start of episode 4. So
yeah.
maybe
Maybe Prue
they're,
just turned
yeah,
up.
yeah.
She was like,
We're going on a
yeah, and
date,
he
and he's
just went
like,
along with it.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
and then at the end of the episode, Prue's on the phone to Andy, and he gives her some good advice, but we don't actually hear
we
what
don't
that
know what
advice
the good
is.
advice is.
No. It's like, thanks,
I wonder
Andy,
what
that's some
it.
good advice. And you're waiting for sort of a payoff.
Yeah, I wonder what it was. Like, what
Yeah.
advice could it possibly be? So obviously something to do with her dad, and
If
obviously
if
at this point
if Andy
he's
said, look, if your dad comes into the room and there's suddenly two of him,
yeah.
always go for the one on the left.
Then that would be good advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder what it was.
Yeah. Who
Not
knows?
thought about
Yeah.
that. And I also love as well. I know this isn't really Love Is Pain at the moment, but I love how we see Leo, the handyman. I was
Yes.
like, Leo.
And Phoebe immediately is like, hello.
Yeah. Because I think, doesn't he say, oh, you can call me Leo? And she was like, I will indeed.
Gladly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I like that
Phoebe.
little nod there. Thought that was
Yeah.
good.
And he looked so
He
young.
really did. He
He
really
looked like he
looked
just
so
wandered in off the
young.
beach. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love
Bless
that
him. He
bit.
was married. Brian Krause was married at that age when he
Was
first started on
he?
Charmed. Yeah,
Oh,
so he
wow.
must have got married young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. I didn't know that.
yeah,
Mind you, he
yeah,
was a catch.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
If you listen to him now on the House of Halliwell podcast, he's all like, "Oh, he's got my voice. That's who I'm being with the gravity voice. I'm being present day Brian Krause."
That's what it is. He set his magical powers on you, and then that's
Yeah,
it.
just channeling Leo. That's
Yeah.
what I do.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
you do now.
yeah. Okay, so now it's time for Work It, which is going to be very
Work
brief.
it.
Work
Yes, because
It.
there really wasn't much work going on.
No, there's one scene of Prue at work in her new office,
Yeah.
and there's a backdrop behind Victor through her office doors into the hallway. There's a backdrop on the wall, like a motif or like a what's it called, just like a
Oh,
thing.
okay.
It
Yeah.
looks so 80s.
I
It's the most
never noticed
80s thing
that.
you've ever seen. And I swear it's never in an episode again. So maybe they saw it on film and went, what were we thinking?
I'm gonna have to go back and have a look now and see what
Yeah,
that is.
it's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh
I
no,
like
Fully
that.
Spooked says, I can't hear you very well, Josh.
Oh, I can hear you
Oh,
okay.
okay. I'll try to talk.
Yeah.
I'll try to talk louder.
Oh.
Yeah,
with
I'm
it's
not
the
very good at
husky
that.
voice. It's the
With a
husky
husky
voice.
voice. Yeah,
My name's Josh.
yeah. So there's
So yeah,
no,
so
yeah,
there's
there's
no
no
real work drama
orientation.
this time.
Yeah, there's
Just
no work
daddy
orientation for
drama.
Prue. She's just working there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
that
no
buttons.
training. She don't need no training.
She knows
She
what
can
she's doing.
identify the ring
Yeah,
off someone's finger.
yeah. Speaking of,
Oh.
let's move quickly on to Sign of the Times.
Oh yeah.
So this is a show from the late 90s. So clearly
Mm.
things have changed a bit since then.
Yeah.
So did you spot any signs of the time in Thank You for Not Morphing?
The only thing I picked up on, and I don't know why, was Phoebe's butterfly clips in her hair,
Oh
which I
yeah.
thought was like Phoebe to me. Her outfit choices and the way that they styled her is really like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
The other two just look normal to
Timeless.
me, but her styling is just, yeah, so of that time. So the only thing
Yeah.
I wrote down was those cute little butterfly clips. I want them.
Is that what Britney Spears wore on the album cover for her first
Oh,
album?
yeah, it
Because
might
she kind of
be.
had her hair up.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was all the
Yeah.
rage, wasn't it? Like I used to have like a little headband thing, and you used to get like these little butterfly. I'm sure I've got a picture of me somewhere, and I've got my hair back with all these little butterfly clips going around
Yeah.
my head.
So stylish.
I know, that's it. So 90s.
See, girls in the 90s had the best stuff. Like the boys had nothing. We had
Oh,
football,
oh,
we had basketball and football. So
yeah.
I always just wanted to be like the girls in the 90s. I was like, give me some nail polish, give me some butterfly
Oh,
clips, I'll be
I love
happy.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the boys like I'm trying to think what my brother used to wear, like lots of shell suits and
yeah.
um I don't this might have been early 90s, but do you remember like naff, I think it was like clothing? Oh, that must have been
Oh,
early 90s then. That
naff.
must have been naff.
That's unfortunate because that is a gay, Polari, the gay language Polari.
Yeah.
Naff
Oh.
is from Polari and it
Oh.
stands for not available for effing.
Ooh.
So to name a
Oh.
clothesline after that is pretty.
Yeah, I'm sure. Please, in the comments, correct me, but I'm sure in the maybe the early 90s there was a clothesline called Naff Naff. I'm sure it was, unless I've made it up. Yeah, I'm
Well,
sure it
we
was.
definitely had like Tammy Boy and Tammy Girl. So is
Yeah.
it kind of like that
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of thing?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. I think I've gone too early in the 90s. And then there
Mm.
was also that clothing. I don't want to get us banned, but like there was also a clothing line called Fat Willies. Do you remember that as
Oh,
well? Oh,
no.
that must have been early, like 90s as well. I'm sure I
Nice.
haven't made this up.
All the
I'm
guys
really
shop
doubting
there.
myself. I'm just trying to think what my brother used to wear, like more than anything. But
Yeah,
anyway,
Fat Willy.
unless I've made it up,
Yeah.
which could be a possibility.
Maybe that was a precursor to Fat Face.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe. Speed Away Chick says Naff Naff was a thing.
Yes, thanks. I didn't make it
Yeah.
up.
NAF,
I'm
NAF.
sane.
Fat
Ah.
Willies is still going, apparently.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow.
Uh, I got a warning for that comment.
Oh,
Sorry, Speedway Chick.
sorry.
Uh,
Oh, dear.
yeah, so there you go.
So,
So
what sign of the
remember,
times did you notice anything?
I noticed two.
Oh,
The first one is that Prue looks up the crystal from the ring in a book rather than going online,
oh,
which is just
yeah.
something that you just don't even think
Yeah.
about anymore. Like, I'm going to go check my book
Yeah,
to
now you just
reference.
pick up the phone,
Yeah,
scan it, you know,
exactly. Yeah,
scan something like, what is this thing? And then it comes up for you. Yeah, I don't think
yeah,
about
exactly. So
that.
that's one of them. And then the other one is that Phoebe refers to herself as the Y generation, as in
Oh,
the letter
yes.
Y. And I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. And that's like that's sort of like a term that has fallen out of use and has been replaced with millennials.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like after Gen X, but before Gen Z, if I know my
Yeah.
alphabet.
I'll get
And
confused.
yeah, so she was referring to herself in the 90s as the Y generation, Generation Y.
Oh,
But now
interesting.
we just call them slash us the
Yeah.
millennials, early millennials or
Wow.
late millennials. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing how that changed then. Like, I
yeah,
wonder what caused that change from that to that. That's interesting. I'm gonna
yeah.
look that up. I find stuff like that really
Well, I
interesting.
always read it was I always read it was the internet because the
Mm,
internet was just so huge, and I think
yeah.
maybe when the term Generation Y or Y Gen was coined, the internet was only just really starting, and it wasn't that impressive. It
Mm,
wasn't really a big deal.
yeah.
Um, so I guess maybe when it
Ah.
became this like definitive
Yeah.
thing in our
Yeah.
lives, that's when the term millennial had to sort of like cover quite a broad number of years,
Yeah.
because there's like the
Oh,
early
okay.
millennials who remember the time before the
Mm,
internet, and then there's, is that
yeah.
it? Or is it that all millennials have to have lived pre-internet or like pre-mobile phones, something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Well, I like that little fact. You're full of
Hmm.
knowledge, Josh.
I'm full of little
Who
tiny
needs
bits
the
of harsh
internet?
knowledge that I
We've
don't
got
know.
the Joshy net.
Yeah, the WinNet.
Yeah. Oh dear, that's it now.
Stargazer says the guys with their V-neck sweaters and white t-shirts was definitely 90s.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
bringing it back. I've got my white t-shirt and the shirt.
Yeah. Lots of
Um,
layers.
it's
It's
all
cold
about,
today.
yeah. That was very Dawson's Creek. That's what Dawson
Mm.
used to wear all the time. Was like
Oh
a
yeah.
flannel shirt over a white t-shirt.
Yeah.
Fashion.
And I will admit, when I was in that time, I used to wear like a t-shirt with like a flannel shirt because I was a
Yeah.
bit. I was. I don't want to say
Indie.
I was like a bit tomboyish, but I was still girly at the same time when I was like a teen.
Yeah.
But I was really into like rock music, which I still am. So I was all about like the grungy look. So like the,
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Cobain type of look and things
Nice.
like that. Yeah. So that was kind of my look. Yeah, a little
Yeah.
t-shirt and a flannel shirt.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I wore. I know that in the early 2000s, I was very much wearing all of those ridiculous Top Man t-shirts that were like, had a picture of a monkey and it would be saying something like, I like your banana, or, things like that. They were just so stupid. And if you saw someone wearing them now, you'd be like, you might cross the
Yeah.
street. Back in the
Oh
day,
dear.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
We need them back in
Yeah.
our life.
Uh,
Oh.
uh, shall we move on to Demon of the Week? We've talked
Yes.
a little bit about them.
Yeah.
So this week, the demons are shapeshifters.
Yeah, I do love a good shapeshifter.
Yeah, same.
Mm.
At various points, the three warlock neighbors, they turn into a dog, a couple of crows, a
Yeah.
very creepy mailman,
With
and
the finger that turns into a key.
the
Like,
key finger. That
yeah.
is so handy. I would love to have that.
Yeah, well, it reminded me, I know this came later, but in Insidious, I think the third film, the key thing, and
Yes.
the monster's got like keys for fingers. It kind of reminded me of that. I'm sure it was that
Charm
film.
did it first.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, interesting.
I love how I love how they gave him like a second enormous knuckle just
I
below the key.
wonder what he was going to say then, Josh. I was like, where's this going?
Second enormous fat willy. Are we going to get booted off it if we keep
Oh,
saying that?
I know. Hopefully not.
Yeah,
But I didn't notice the big knuckle. I was
yeah,
too busy laughing at the like plasticine
yeah.
finger going in.
It was great. I just loved it. Just slotted in, turned it.
Yeah, it was
Brilliant.
like
Open the door.
perfect. But I
Yeah.
did read something on the internet that says this is an error because that type of key wouldn't be able to unlock the lock on the inside of the door or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is why I love the internet.
Yes. I did notice that even though Prue kept getting really annoyed that nobody was locking the door, when she shuts the door and turns the lock, she doesn't actually lock it. It doesn't turn the way it was before. So you're the problem, Prue.
Yeah,
Sorry.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
dear.
so did you think they were a good foil, the warlocks, the shapeshifters?
I think they were, in theory, they were good, but they were just a bit like, like I loved Cinder. Don't get me wrong, because I loved that she had that other side to her. But the other two, I just could have been like done without. Why didn't they just go with Cinder, like, and that's it, and
Yeah.
just leave it at that?
I felt
Yeah.
like they were obviously going for like a mirror
Mm,
thing where it was like
mm,
siblings versus siblings.
yeah.
But because they didn't really, the sisters had very little interaction with those neighbors.
Yeah.
There's that really weird moment when Cinder like knocks on the door and pops her head in and is like, "Hi," and
And she's
Prue's
got a
like,
bowl or
"Yeah,"
something.
and then she just goes, "Well, bye then." What?
Yeah, he's a bit random.
Yeah.
But I guess they were trying to do there's three of them and three sisters, so I get the symmetry kind of gesture.
But it
But
all
yeah,
just sort of, the focus was pulled constantly over to the dad, to Victor.
yeah,
So
definitely.
the Warlocks kind of lost out, and the Warlocks just ended up feeling kind of weirdly powerless. Like they had no
Mm,
agency really. They kept trying to do stuff, but they kept messing it up.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so they were
definitely.
kind of a bit useless. Like they were just like
Yeah,
frat boys.
yeah. And I think maybe in any other episode that wasn't focusing so much on the dad stuff, they probably would have been used a bit more or been a bit better.
Yeah,
But they were just a bit like, a
yeah,
little bit. And I do love me a shapeshifter.
yeah.
But yeah, they were just a
Just
bit,
didn't quite gel, did it?
no, no,
Didn't quite work.
no.
Yeah, I did love the glowy dog eyes. That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
CGI glowy eyes.
and they busted the attic door again for the second time in three
Yeah.
episodes.
We've got
So
Leo the handyman now, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, perfect excuse to bring in Leo. It's going to cost them a fortune fixing that door. I love how the door is like later on in the series. The grandfather clock is the thing that always gets smashed.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and there's one episode where they throw a demon into it, and Piper's like, "God damn it, we just got that thing fixed."
Yeah, so I like that they
So
can make fun of it.
yeah,
Definitely.
exactly. Yeah. So charming dialogue.
Yeah.
What have you got? What was your standout
So I
dialogue this
had
episode?
two that I wrote down as I was watching. So, and I have actually used one of them in my conversation today where
Yeah,
Phoebe goes, "What a coinky dink."
I use
Did
that
you have
all
that
the
one? Do you use
time.
that all the time?
All
I
the
love it. So today I was like talking to Corey and I was like, "Well, what a coinky dink." And I was like, "How clever of me." To fit this like charm dialogue into my daily life.
I always say what a coinkydink, and I always say, um, coincidence is coincidence with a
Oh,
J from Friends.
I love that. Oh, I love that, Josh.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, so I got Kerinky Dink, and I just love the way she says that.
yeah.
And then my standout line was from Prue, where she says, "No one can hurt us as bad as you," to the dad,
Oh,
and I was like, so he's going on about, oh, all these, evil entities are going to get you, these warlocks and that, and she's like, "No one can hurt us as bad as
yeah.
you," and I was like, yes, Prue. Yes,
Ugh.
Prue.
Fight, Prue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
those are the two I wrote down while I was watching. How about
She's
you?
she's really good at just like speaking
Yeah.
the truth, not holding back.
Mm,
She knows that he deserves to hear
yeah,
that.
definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
Um, my so I've got two as well. Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got three. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Three. Yeah.
The first
What have you
one
got?
is similar to one that you mentioned that Prue said earlier. I came, I saw, I was perky. Now I just want my head on a pillow.
I love that. And I'm going to use that in my
Yeah,
everyday life.
I mean that's how I feel about any social event. It's
Yeah.
just I was perky. Now I want my head on a pillow.
Yeah, head on pillow time.
Uh, then there's the moment when Phoebe they find the dad's ring on the floor after
Mm.
Prue sort of kapowed him across the room.
Oh, that was so funny.
And Phoebe talking about the ring says, "Oh, it must have slipped off when he fell."
Foul.
Fell, yeah. Wasn't thrown against the wall.
Yeah, I like that
Uh,
one.
and then my final one, oh, actually, I've done one for each. Okay, this is okay.
Oh,
Was Piper when she said, "Wait a sec. Last week we had no dad, and now we had two."
yeah. Yes, that's such a good line. I like that one. Very good.
Yeah.
Love them.
CL Ingham says, "What was Leo's really cheesy line about the state of the manor?
Oh,
Just need
not
some
sure.
TLC or like need some
Yeah,
loving
something
care
like
or
that.
something like that." Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a really good, like, it was something like to make you remember remember him other than his looks.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
he's not in the next episode,
No.
so he's kind of
No.
there and gone again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
He's just
read
doing
that
his handyman things.
this was actually shot as the either the fourth or the fifth episode in
I did
production.
wonder whether it was shot out of order, this,
Yeah.
because I was like, why would they introduce Leo and then not use him again in like
Mhm.
episode 4? So I wondered whether they'd move stuff around.
Yeah, because I think he's back in episode 5, so it would
Yeah.
make sense if it went
Mm.
that way around. And I think the next episode, Dead Man Dating, was shot as episode 6.
Oh,
So that was brought like
interesting.
way forward.
Mm.
I think the only other time I know they've done that is in season 4 when they swapped around. There's a body swap episode and I think there's another Chinese mythology episode and they switch the running order for those two.
Okay.
No, that's the same episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've done it before.
They've done
They'll
it
do
before.
later. Yeah.
I did, but it did cross my mind. I feel like, because after I watched episode 4, I thought, I wonder whether they'd swapped the order around, because it just felt that way a little bit. And I think that was something to do with building the connection with the sisters.
Yeah,
definitely. So I think maybe they put it in an order and they thought the connection wasn't there. I mean, I'm just surmising. And then obviously changing the order made the connection better. I don't know. That's just how it came across. To me.
Sharon says, "Who knew a Charmed chat needed an OF?" What's an
OF?
Sharon? What's that?
An OF.
I think she's talking about OnlyFans because of our fat something.
Oh, yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
Oh dear, we're a bit slow.
Says flannel shirts were for tying around your waist in the 90s. I used to do that a lot. Yeah. Still cool.
Yeah.
Still cool. Sharon loved the shapeshifters as well.
Yeah.
Hi, Tanya. OnlyFans. What's OnlyFans, Tanya? Nobody knows. Never heard of it.
No. Enlighten us.
Shall we move on to Sister of the Week?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of drama in this episode, a sister drama, but it never really boils into like all-out antagonism. They don't really go for each other. They kind of have fought like a bit of a disagreement, but they kind of get their way through it.
Yeah.
So who was your favourite in this episode?
So in this one, it was Prue. So Prue was the one for me because all that broccoli she put on her plate in that. like the rest of the other two have gone out for a like slap up meal with that big like dessert thing, and then she eats like a whole plate of broccoli, just broccoli, not even like broccoli cheese or anything. And anyway, so I was like, Prue, eat that broccoli. But mainly because I loved all the dad stuff and the way that she dealt with it. And I wrote down here, Prue longing to tell her dad all the things he missed and where he has been her whole life. And I just thought, like Prue for me was like, and she seemed the more sensible one in this, like thinking logically for me. I just thought it came across like hesitance, but logic. Yeah. How about you? Who was your?
I think it probably is Prue as well. I think that the other sisters kind of have their little moments. Phoebe has her emotional meetup with the dad, and then Piper has her sort of like funny moments where she's trying to sort of smooth over the tension. But I think Prue gets the strongest sort of emotional arc for this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
You see her go from cynical and suspicious and very much sort of unresolved abandonment issues with her dad to then, by the end of it, perhaps a little bit too quickly, but nonetheless, she does sort of come round by the end of the episode.
Yeah. And it's nice to see that side of her, I think, as well. Because we've seen, like, in the first 2 episodes, her being the very much big sister. And yes, she is the big sister in this one, but it's nice to see that bit of the softer side towards the end as well.
Yeah. Well, because she's like the head of the family, essentially.
Yeah.
she's the one who basically calls the shots, and it's kind of up to the others if they do fall in line. But
Yeah.
she's the one who kind of tells them how it's going to
Yeah.
be. So then to have someone who's senior to her come in, it kind of
Mm.
throws off her whole role, I
Yeah.
guess, within the family.
She's like, oh, yeah, yeah, that's valid because she's very much like, if he comes back into life, he will then be the head of the family. So where does she sit
Mm,
in that? So
yeah,
yeah, that could be some of her hesitance actually.
right.
Yeah,
So and it's like, well, Prue, you're going to have to sort of chill out a bit then.
yeah,
If suddenly you're not responsible entirely for everyone,
mm,
would you be able to chill out? I'm not sure that she could.
no, I don't think she could.
Yeah.
Definitely not because she's so used to being in that role as well and doing that role
Hmm.
because her dad's never been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
Oh.
only shame watching it in retrospect is that um, they kind of reach a sense of sort of, I don't know, they can reach an understanding with each other towards the end of
Mm,
this episode, Prue and her dad. But then the character is then absent for over 2 years. Like he doesn't come back
yeah.
until the middle of season three, in
Mm,
which, and then in that time you then have like to have a reprieve of this whole exact
yeah.
emotional arc all over again, which is
Yeah.
kind of a shame.
But then quite factual to real life though,
Yeah, I
because
guess so.
I suppose in 3 years, and then if he came back into their lives, then it would dig up all them emotions
Mm,
again. So I get what they were trying to do with that, but not necessarily needed.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Lane's Library says Prue, I think Prue is their favourite, as she showed her dad that she needed him, but is choosing to towards the end of the episode, but slowly, or didn't
Yeah.
need him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Lena says, as someone with an absent dad, I loved how she put her point across. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speedway Chick says, Prue for me, Phoebe drove me mad in this one. Oh, poor Phoebe. Yeah. Trina says, Prue for me.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, lots of Prue love in this one.
Yeah, good old
Definitely.
Prudence. And we find out her full name is Prudence
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
that's the first time we kind of hear
Hmm.
Prudence, and I
Yeah,
love that it's her dad saying that, like, "Hi,
yeah,
Prudence."
yeah, because her
Yeah.
younger sisters would never call her
No.
Prudence.
Oh, can you
Oh,
imagine if they
wow.
did? No.
They would fall over.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Um, cool. So, how many brooms out of five are you going to give this
So
one?
I gave this on a 4 because
Ooh.
I felt, yeah, so I felt, because it actually got me quite emotional at the end when they were watching the Christmas film. Like, I
Mm.
actually shed a tiny tear at this one
Oh,
because I thought it was a little tug on the old heart. And so, whilst on the surface there was this rift, but it does actually bring them closer together at the end. So I thought, oh, yeah, it got me. So I was
yeah.
like a 4.
Oh,
How about you?
I'm going to give it a three.
Mm.
Um, I felt like it filled in some backstory that was really important for us to know
Yeah.
about the family, and sort of introduce the idea of their daddy issues and
Mm.
what a male presence in the family is like, because obviously it's a very female
Yeah.
oriented family. Um, but I kind of can't get over just how lame the demons actually ended up being.
Yeah, that is
You
true,
know,
actually.
they just didn't
Yeah,
really contribute anything apart from a bit of sort of shape shifting stuff
yeah,
that didn't really achieve
yeah.
anything.
They were just there for fodder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
But I
it.
do think it's worth noting that this episode was written by the writing team of Chris Levinson and Zach Estrin,
Ah,
and they went on to write some of like the best all-time great Charmed episodes. So
interesting. Yeah, but
they were like
I can
they were
see
story
that.
editors,
Yeah,
so they
I
were
can
kind of
see that.
instrumental in uh, sort of working on scripts and stuff and story
Mm.
across the first three
Ah,
seasons.
okay.
So you can see that they came to the table with lots of
Yeah,
great ideas, that but they kind of maybe struggled to juggle different elements maybe in this
mm,
episode.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that, and they did definitely get the emotion right,
Yeah,
100% in this. For me, like it was just spot on. That last
yeah,
scene, as I say, when they were watching the Christmas video. And I think this is the only time we ever see Christmas in
Yeah,
Charmed, I
yeah,
think, which I thought was quite sweet as well.
yeah, because they're Wiccans. They
Yeah,
are Wiccan,
yeah.
so they wouldn't
No,
necessarily celebrate Christmas.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I I think there was like a rumored episode called Home for the Hallowells in like season
Oh,
4,
yeah.
but
I couldn't think.
yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't think.
it never got past
Yeah.
script stage. So
Oh.
lots of 3.5s here from
Oh.
various. Yeah, Stargazer Trina 3.5, 3.5. CL Ingram says 3. So
Yeah.
oh,
So.
Speedway Chick 2.5 rounded up for a 3 to a 3 for the
Ooh.
Christmas family film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
And
nice little moment.
in that Christmas family film, it was Phoebe playing the mom, I
Do
read
you think?
as well. That's what I read. That you
Oh,
don't see her. So it was Alyssa Milano, sorry,
really?
playing the mom. That's what I read, but whether that's true, I
Yeah.
don't know.
That just reminded me of one very funny, unintentionally funny moments when Victor's talking about the picture of Prue playing the piano, and he's like, "If you look really close, you can see your mum in it."
She's like, and then she's like,
fully in the whole picture.
I never noticed that before. And you can actually clearly
Yeah,
see an arm.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's her full body is in the picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
Classic.
3 stars for Sharon as well. All
Ah,
right,
so it was
great.
just me with the 4 then. But
Yeah,
I think I'd put it as a 4 because it just got me at the end, and I was like, yeah,
yeah, sweet. Yeah.
yeah,
All
definitely.
right. So that was Thank You for Not Morphing, season 1, episode 3.
Yeah.
Are you ready for season 1, episode 4?
I'm not sure I'm ready because this episode had me in tears, Josh. I was crying.
Get out the tissues.
Oh dear. Oh,
Yeah,
this
it's an
episode.
emotional one. This is a
Yeah.
really emotional one.
I can feel myself like feeling emotional thinking about it. It was.
Come on, Shelley,
Oh.
cry. Think of the ratings. Think of the ratings we're going to get. Pure emotion.
Honestly, this episode, we'll get into it, but I thought it was brilliant. Like, spoiler,
so excited to talk
thought it
about
was
this
brilliant.
one. As soon as we started talking about doing the Charmed chat, I was like, oh my God, bring on episode 4.
Now, I've never seen this episode before because obviously, remember I said I came into Charmed a little bit later.
Yeah.
So this was a complete new experience
for
me watching it. And oh, yeah, it was good.
Amazing. Okay. So, episode 4, Dead Man Dating. Prue's birthday is coming up. So Piper and Phoebe are planning a surprise party for her, even though Prue hates surprises. To pay for the present she wants to get for Prue, Phoebe gets a job as a hotel psychic and goes on a mission to save a guest after she has a premonition about their death. Meanwhile, Piper encounters a ghost named Mark, who has just been killed by a gang leader and who needs to be laid to rest before the demon Yama drags his soul to hell. So we'll get into all of the Mark hotel good stuff, but let's start with the sister bond.
Yeah.
So in this episode, the sisters all have quite separate plot strands, but they also come together at key moments. So you have Prue and her Andy drama. It continues. Phoebe and the whole hotel psychic shenanigans.
That cracked me up.
Yeah. And you have Piper trying to save Mark's soul. So what were your thoughts about the sister bond in this episode?
So as you say, I think for me, I think they all had their individual time to shine in this episode, all in different ways. So whilst you could really feel the bond was there, and especially by the end, they really did come together. So the bond was there, but they all were living their separate lives. And I think that's the first time you kind of see them, apart from Prue, where we've seen her at the auction house, we see them all living their own little separate entities. So to me, it was like, by the end, I could see the sister bond, but at the start it was all very separate. But I liked it. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I like this seeing their daily lives when they're not all
yeah,
together.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You kind of it had that. It's a drama
Mm,
with
mm.
supernatural elements kind of
Yeah.
feeling to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I did read somewhere when I was looking that in this episode the sisters really found their stride from a writing
Mm,
perspective. So then,
mm,
because of all the strengths that they put into each individual section going on, they were able to base the rest of the series and some of the themes on some of the reactions. So I wonder
yes.
whether that's why they swapped some of the episodes around. So, like, for
Yeah.
example, Piper being quite emotional in this episode, maybe they thought then, because obviously she does become the more emotional one, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Like down the
Totally.
line.
And like
So
her
I'm
love
wondering,
drama is brought to
yeah,
the fore. Her
yeah,
sort of like unlucky in love
yeah,
situation.
yeah. So I feel this is a really pivotal episode for the
Yeah.
sisters as individuals and together, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And like, I think that so the two episodes following this one aren't the
Mm,
best ones ever made. So you can kind of understand why they shunted this one forwards in
yeah.
terms of the quality of it is just so
Yeah.
it's like it's pretty much one of the best ever episodes of Charmed.
Mm,
So you can see why they brought it way forward to really get people invested.
yeah.
I think, like you said, like each of the sisters really sort of the they become so clear, like who each of them
Yeah.
are and what they do,
Mm,
and what their strengths are. So I think that's why
yeah.
this one works really well. And their
Yeah.
bond, I think their bond works brilliantly. Like
Mm,
I love the little bits of family history again that we get, like
yeah.
the joke that Phoebe's
Mm.
birthday presents is always just a card 3 days late, and
Yeah. 3 days late.
both sisters know that and say that separately. You know,
Yeah.
it's like this
Yeah.
a fact of the family.
Yeah.
Um,
Like a tradition, isn't it? Family tradition.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I love that Prue knows that they're throwing a surprise party. She knows her sisters so well that they can try to
Yeah.
hide. I mean, you say that they try to hide it. They put it in that drawer in the kitchen. That is, anyone can go into that drawer at any
It's the junk
time.
drawer. You know, everyone has a junk drawer where that
Yeah,
anything goes in, but still you can't find anything in it. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it was quite empty. There was nothing in that drawer apart from the surprise party
yeah,
cards and
that's
stuff,
true.
invitations. I feel like Prue would have been straight in that drawer.
Yeah, I reckon she knew.
Um,
I reckon.
so yeah, but I think I like that that Prue, even though her stuff is all very much sort of Andy oriented, she does
Mm,
learn something from the
yeah,
supernatural story. So she learns
yeah,
to actually not take her birthday for granted.
yeah.
It was Mark's birthday.
Oh,
Mark dies on his birthday,
oh,
and he kind of
Josh.
says, he says, "You never know when it's
Oh,
going to be your last." And so she kind of
yeah,
takes that on board, and that's her
yeah,
lesson for this episode.
yeah. And what a I want to say what a lovely lesson, but it is like what an emotionally lovely lesson because it really did make me think like, gosh, that is so right. Like you shouldn't like me and Kev have got a thing like when it comes to our birthday, we're a bit like, you know, and it's
Yeah,
just been Corey's birthday, and he's a bit like, oh, I'm getting older, like you know, and I'm like, no, actually, we should be saying we shouldn't take our birthdays for granted. We should be happy we've done another year.
yeah, absolutely.
We're going into another year, so it really. I think it might have changed my perspective on birthdays a little bit.
Yeah.
This episode.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
know, yeah.
Yeah,
Just because I always just feel a bit grumpy towards my birthday. I'm a bit
yeah.
like
Uh,
getting
getting
older.
older. Yeah. I had a very similar moment watching the most recent Jumanji film,
Oh yeah,
where
yeah,
Danny DeVito has a moment where he says, "Growing
mm,
old is a privilege,"
yeah,
and
very
I
much.
that really sort of that spun
Yeah,
my perspective on birthdays
yeah,
hugely, and like I thought, you know, getting older, looking in the mirror, seeing more wrinkles, and thinking, God,
mm,
I don't look the way I looked 10 years ago. You know,
yeah,
it can be a bit of a shock sometimes. You kind of
mm,
you're sort of like trained to
yeah,
want to be youthful,
yeah,
but I do think that yeah, there's a joy in getting
yeah,
old, and there's a
yeah,
privilege. There's a privilege
yeah,
in getting old because not everyone
yeah.
gets do that. So
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
nice lesson for
Yeah.
Prue to learn,
Yeah,
and it
definitely. I
takes an
agree.
added poignancy knowing that she actually has only has two more birthdays left, doesn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Spoiler,
definitely. Yeah,
spoiler alert.
sorry. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, Sharon
definitely.
says that she loves. Sorry, CL Ingram says that they love their birthday.
Oh,
Sharon says that her birthday's coming up, and Carl always made a big fuss. Glad
yeah,
now. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Sharon.
Says Gut Stargazer says my husband always says you can either get older or colder. I think that puts it in
Oh,
perspective.
that's such a good saying. Yeah, older
Yeah.
or colder. I'm going to say that to Kev when he's moaning. I'm going to be like, "Are you older or colder, Kev?"
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys. Um,
Yeah.
so mythology. This mythology in this episode is less about the sisters, and it's
Mm,
more of sort of an exercise in general world building for Charmed.
yeah.
So you discover that Chinese mythology and fairy tales are
Mm,
just as real as Wicca and witchcraft.
yeah.
You've got the gatekeeper Yama, who is kind of like a Grim Reaper, I think.
Yeah, but don't you
Um,
think? Don't you think? Do you remember the? Oh, I don't know. You're a bit younger than me, but do you remember the cartoon Dungeons and
oh yeah,
Dragons? The cartoon. He looked like the guy on the horse,
oh
right?
yeah, he did.
And I couldn't unsee it. As soon as I saw it, I was
Yeah,
like, because I'm still to this day like so angry that we never got a finish to that series of Dungeons and
yeah.
Dragons because it just never ended. So you don't know whether they got back from off the fairground ride. But
Oh,
he looked like
oh,
he did look like that
yeah.
guy, right?
I've got very, very, very hazy memories of that.
Yeah,
I remember the guy with like the silver hair and the bald head. Is he in
yeah,
Dungeons and Dragons?
I think
He's like a
so.
he's like a wizard, I
Yeah,
think, which kind of that tracks.
yeah. Yeah, but I know
Yeah,
I'm doubting myself now, but I'm sure there was a guy in there on a horse with like the same helmet and glowy
yeah,
eyes, I'm sure.
yeah.
And then I just couldn't
I wonder if there's
unsee it
just a
after I saw
D&D fan
it.
on the
Yeah.
writing staff or in the costume department.
Yeah.
Um,
But he did.
so did you like that the sort of Chinese mythology was incorporated into the Charmed
Yeah,
universe?
yeah, I really, really loved it in this episode. And even like, I tend to go and research things that I don't know about because I'd never heard of Yama and stuff like that before. So I went and had a little research after just to see, and it's quite
Mm,
fascinating, like to see like the whole myth behind it. And I think it means I think Yama is also in other cultures as
yeah,
well, but under like a different name.
yeah. Well, I
Don't know
think
whether that makes
I
me
think
sound
he's
like.
meant to be. Isn't Yama meant to be like a psychopomp, which is
Mm.
a Grim Reaper? Like there's all different types of
Yeah,
Grim
like there's
Reapers
all
around the
different
world.
types. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I found it fascinating, and
Mm,
I just love that whole thing that if your body's not laid to
yeah.
rest, then Yama will come and take you, basically taking you to hell, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like he wasn't laid to rest because he wasn't
Yeah,
identified. So his soul was sort of stranded,
yeah,
and so Yama would take him to hell.
yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
mean, that in itself is just
scary.
scary.
I
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I liked it as well, and it kind of becomes
Mm.
a mainstay for Charmed to slightly cherry pick
Mm.
sort of myths and legends from around the world
Yeah,
and then recreate them in
yeah,
episodes. And like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think it works in this one because it's I don't know because it's rooted in the emotion, I
yeah,
suppose, of sort of like the Chinese
yeah.
experience.
Definitely.
I know that I think John Cho, who plays Mark, is actually South Korean, which doesn't really
Yeah.
help the cause of the
Yeah.
of the show.
Yeah.
But I think they treated it with respect and sort
Yeah.
of
I
it
do.
worked. I think it worked
Yeah.
for this episode.
Yeah. Because
Um,
it made me invested as well
yeah,
in the story. Like, I was like, no, I don't want this character who I've now loved in the space of 10 minutes of seeing him on the screen. Like, I don't want him to go to hell. I want him to have a burial and I want him to be all
I
safe and
know.
nice.
He's so
Yeah.
sweet.
He does
He's a
really
perfect man.
make you, yeah, love him in those just that short space of time. Like, I mean, I love him
Yeah.
as an actor anyway. Like, I think he's always been good in what I've seen him. I prefer him in more serious roles than comedy
Yeah.
roles, funny enough. But
Yeah.
like he was in Searching, I think it was called,
Yeah.
and he was phenomenal
Star
in
Trek.
that.
Yeah.
Star Trek, yeah. So I prefer him in the more serious roles, but in this, he just, yeah, I loved him within like
Yeah.
seconds of his character. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Well, Tom, my partner Tom, had an interesting thing of observation, I suppose, where he kind of said that it kind of doesn't really matter what Mark and Piper are talking about. It's
Mm,
just sad because he's dead,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They could be talking about anything, and they do. They're talking about cooking, like, but it's
Oh,
just sad because he's
yeah.
dead.
And then when
Which
he's
is a
doing
really good point.
talking about the cooking as well, and it's like the tragedy is as well that it would be so good for Piper because obviously
Yeah,
she loves the
perfect
cooking
man.
and she's a chef, and
Yeah,
oh, it's just heartbreaking the whole
yeah.
thing.
We'll get into we'll get into Love Is Blind.
Yeah, sorry.
But just one last thing for the mythology is that
Mm.
ghosts are real. Ghosts are real
Yes,
too.
yeah.
Um,
I got my
and it's
little
a
ghosty
oh
earrings
nice.
in homage. You
Yeah,
can't see him very well.
delightful.
Yeah, tiny.
Oh, this is my ghost. You might recognize this one.
Oh, yeah. Who got you that, Josh?
You do.
I saw it and I thought this is a Josh thing. This is.
Yeah, I have them on my shelf like this.
I love that.
Disapproving mama ghost.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
What is the baby ghost doing?
yeah. Um, so yeah, I like the way the charmed twist on ghosts is
Mm,
that only witches
mm.
can see them rather than
Yeah,
regular people can't see them.
yeah.
Um,
And I loved how all three of them could see him as well, not
yeah,
just like one of them.
yeah,
I
that's
like that.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought the continuity of what a ghost can and can't do was quite funny though. Like he's sitting on the couch, but he can't turn the TV on by touching it.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite.
Yeah. There was a little bit like, I did think at that when they were sitting on the couch, I was like, oh, how is he doing that? But then I just put it down to because they were in his apartment at that point.
He sits
So
on
weren't
he
they?
sits on the sofa in the manor as well,
Oh, does he?
twice.
Oh, that puts my theory out. I was thinking,
Yeah,
oh, perhaps in his own space he could do his own things, is
yeah,
what I was thinking. But no.
yeah. No,
No, no.
no. And then one other thing. It's not really mythology. I guess it's kind of mythology to do with the house itself. So the door under the stairs in this
Yeah.
episode, it's a bathroom. Prue pops out in her towel and she's just had a
Oh.
shower.
It's
But
normally a
from it's a
cupboard.
closet. It's a coat closet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never noticed
It would have
that.
been
I
the
wonder
tiniest bathroom under the stairs.
what...
And they clearly just threw it in there because they wanted to shoot in the hallway.
Yeah. It's like, oh, no one will notice.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That was a bit of a shock. Because, oh my God, a magic bathroom
Magic
under the stairs.
bathroom, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so good at picking these things up. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. When you're used to that being a cupboard
Yeah.
and it's sort of like it's pivotally a cupboard in quite a few episodes where
Yeah.
demons are in it and stuff. And,
That's why when you said, I thought, well, no, it's a cupboard.
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, not in
Um,
this one.
yeah. Let's just catch up on a few little comments. Hang on.
I'm sorry, I
Okay.
can't help.
I
I just
know.
can't see them. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Sharon knows about Yama. Yama eats souls, so there will be no
Eat
rest for him.
souls.
Horrifying, yeah.
See, that is
Yeah.
horrifying.
CL Ingram says that they like the tokens that keep the dead out. That was cool. Like a
Oh,
protection
yeah.
charm on the door.
Protection, yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that was good.
Lenore 1987 says this episode broke my heart. He was perfect for Piper aside from
Yeah.
being dead.
Oh,
It's
he
true.
was so perfect.
Karen says, who would question ghosts being real? Without them, there would be no Devon Sawyer. Fair
That's
point.
true.
Yeah. Speedway Chip says, and Piper opening the car door for him. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So he could get in the car. Yeah. Oh dear.
You see the car go, you know, with his weight in it.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Yeah,
Few continuity errors there.
yeah, but that's why we love
Yeah,
it.
we don't mind.
All right, love is pain. This is the romance section of the chat. Let's start with Prue. Have to
Yeah.
start with Prue.
Oh,
Andy is still laying it on pretty thick. He gets a room at a spa for Prue's birthday, but he gets adjoining rooms because he doesn't want to assume anything. They do kiss
Mm.
when he gives her that gift for her birthday,
Which is the
but then,
key
which is a key to
to
the
the
place they're going to,
hotel.
but they're not going until next week. So I have to go
It looks quite an old key as well. It's not like
symbolic.
it's not your old key card thing that then doesn't
Yeah.
work on
Oh
the
yeah, that's
hotel.
true.
It's actually like a proper lock and key. So where's he
Yeah.
actually taking her?
Oh God.
I know.
Oh,
Do we want to
Andy.
know?
It's getting desperate. So then Prue discovers that Andy has an ex-wife.
I was shooketh. I was shooketh.
I
Like
was more
honestly,
shaken by, well, she kind of said Andy's sister, and I was like, no, you've known Andy your whole life. You know that he doesn't
yeah,
have a sister.
yeah, that's so true. But like, yeah, but he was very familiar with this wife,
Yeah.
and I know he kind of says like, oh, I'm friends with my ex-wife, like good friends with my ex-wife. Is that so bad?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like,
Yes, because you hid it from
yeah,
Prue.
you didn't tell
You
her. Like,
lied by
why not tell
omission.
her up front that you've got a good relationship with your ex-wife? I would admire you more if you told her.
Yeah.
Now I'm just
Yeah.
like get in the bin, Andy. You are no good for Prue. Step away from my
Oh,
prudence.
even even though he says, "I just want to be with you away together." No.
He just wants naughty time. That's just what he
Yeah, he's
wants.
just
It's been a month, Josh. A
yeah, it's been
month.
a full month for Andy. Poor
I like how they
poor
use
Andy.
that as like for us as viewers as a passage of time as well.
Yeah,
Like the fact that they haven't had sex for a month, that it's been a month since like those first few episodes.
yeah, exactly.
That made me laugh.
Oh, Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
Trina
Not a fan
says
of Andy in this
Trina
one.
says didn't feel bad for Andy in this one. Yeah, I
Mm.
think we can agree. Yeah, Sharon says you think he would have mentioned an ex-wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Lenore 1987 says Andy is flawed. Laughing emoji.
Mm.
Yeah, to put it lightly, I feel like because Daryl, his colleague, hasn't been in the show for a few episodes. I think
No.
Andy's gone a bit off
It's
off
all those
piece.
visiting occult shops. Because remember in the first
Yeah,
episode, he's like, oh, I've been to like witchcraft shops and, and
it's an
stuff.
anime. Yeah,
Oh dear.
Sharon says
Yeah. So
that Andy is Randy. Let's be honest.
and
Exactly.
he's Randy. Yeah,
Yeah.
very. Yeah.
But she kind of does she forgive him by the end of the episode? I've already forgotten. Oh,
I
he's at the
don't know. I
party.
don't.
He's at
Yeah,
her
he's
surprise
there,
birthday
and they
party at
see
the
each
end.
other across the room, don't
Yeah.
they? And they give each other a bit of a forgiving look. And I think,
It's you again. Yeah.
I'd be like, go be with your ex-wife, Randy
Yeah.
Andy. Take
Go and have a
her to
giggle
the
with her.
adjoining bedrooms.
Yeah. Here's your rusty key. Get away.
Oh, yeah. Not a fan of Andy in this one. I'm
All right.
hoping he redeems himself at some point,
Yeah.
but I'm not holding out hope.
I wouldn't hold your breath, shall we?
No. Not gonna.
So let's talk about the real love story of the episode, which is Piper and Mark.
Yeah.
They have what I think is one of the greatest meet cutes in a show,
So
where when they meet, she thinks he's just like a rude guy who's
yeah.
interrupting and following her. And she's like, can you believe this guy? And everyone thinks she's crazy because she's talking to him over them. And I just love that revelation. It's like, oh, right. Oh, you're actually a ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just think that's lovely.
I love that as well. I thought that was good. As I say, I love it as well that it happened. They first meet like when Phoebe's in a get
Yeah.
up, psychic get up, and then
Yeah.
obviously she's talking to him like he's a real human. Like Piper's talking to him like a real human, and it's just like, and everyone's like looking like,
Nobody
what the
there.
hell is
Yeah.
going on? Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
I love that they bond over cooking. I love that moment when
Oh,
there's that little, like, that really sad joke where she says, I can talk about food all night long. And he says, yeah, I can talk about it forever. She's like,
oh,
because you're
God.
dead. Because you're dead,
Oh,
Mark.
oh, it's so sad. Oh, and then all the stuff as well towards the end when like Piper goes, close your eyes, pretend you
Oh,
can feel my hand on your skin, that my touch gives
yeah.
you comfort. And I'm like, oh, that got me then. I was a goner. And then I think Mark goes, where were you all my
Oh,
life? And I'm like, oh,
getting chills, Shelley.
I know.
Getting
Oh,
chills.
Josh, it was so
I also
sad. Oh, I can't
have
believe
to
you.
give massive credit to the music producers or sources for the show
Yeah,
because they picked two beautiful songs
yeah,
to
they
be
did.
their kind of theme music. They
Yeah.
picked Hush, Hush, Hush by Paula Cole,
Oh,
who's better
oh yeah,
known
Paula Cole,
for
Dawson's
doing the Dawson's
Creek.
Creek theme
Yeah,
tune.
yeah.
So that plays when they're in Mark's apartment and he gives Piper his grandfather's recipes.
Oh,
And then it's playing when they have that gorgeous moment you just mentioned
yeah.
where she's sort of like,
The
not
touch.
touching you, can't get mad, not touching you, can't get
Yeah.
mad. Um,
Oh,
and then there is Beth Nielsen Chapman's Sand and Water, which plays at the funeral.
yeah.
And those
Oh,
two songs are just perfect. It's
yeah,
amazing the way they imbue those scenes with so
yeah,
much subtle emotion.
yeah.
Beautiful.
And I'm a really big believer in music can really set off a scene. And
Hmm.
I'm so glad that I had the Blu-ray at this point because I'm
Oh,
taking it
yeah.
on streaming. They didn't have that, and they would have had that really weird
Take.
music. But
Yeah.
yeah, but it would have been like something tinkler, like ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad I had the Blu-ray for that because it was just
Yeah.
perfect. It's perfect musical timing. Like I'm a huge fan of like, much to Kevin's annoyance, like this isn't the same thing, but when we was watching Gavin and Stacey at Christmas, like with the whole last episode, Kevin was like, "What the hell are you on?" So at the end, oh, I don't want to spoil it in case anyone's seen it, but there's this end scene, and they play a perfectly timed Snow Patrol
Oh,
song, and
oh
I was like,
wow.
this is like the Snow Patrol, Kevin. And he's like looking at me like, what? And I'm like, I appreciate the musicality of it all.
Yeah. A
Yeah,
well-timed
like,
needle drop is
yeah,
just like gold dust for a
definitely.
TV show or a film.
Yeah,
Completely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate stuff like that. And it was just
Yeah.
beautiful.
I
Yeah,
think
it was
that
lovely.
the thing about that love story between Piper and Mark is that it kind of taps into that thing that Pixar do really well,
Yeah.
which is like basically bittersweet.
Mm,
Like the way Pixar make you cry is by doing something that is like inherently sad, but also making it
mm,
weirdly happy and uplifting at the same time. And it's almost
yeah.
like it short circuits your brain and you don't know how to process it, so you just cry.
Yeah, and I was like that with, I don't know whether this was Pixar,
Yeah,
Coco. Is it Coco?
yeah,
And I was like that. Me and Kev went to the cinema to see that, and like obviously there's loads of kids. We sat quite near the front because we thought, well, we obviously haven't got any
yeah, we're from
kids
the
with
back.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we sat at the front, and by the end of it, I was like an absolute mess, and all these kids are all happy running around behind, and
Oh,
I was walking out of the cinema like black mascara down my
remember
face.
this.
Yeah, but it is that,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's just like a little switch that it does in your head. And
yeah.
again, musicality, music timing, it just everything. Yeah,
Power of music.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trina says, it broke my heart the way she's stroking his face.
Oh,
Yeah. Chambers
yeah.
Bookish says, honestly, Charmed has some of the best romance writing committed to screen.
Mm,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I
Totally does.
agree with that. Yeah.
Sharon says they were so cute and I hate romance. I agree. I agree,
Yeah.
Sharon. Normally romance is like, yeah, love, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, see, I'm a killer for a good romance. Like
Oh,
I love my horror and that, but yeah, I love a good. I normally like a good romance over a long time
mm,
period. Like One Day is like one of my favourite books where the romance is like over 20 years. And
ah,
like, yeah, and when it's done well, it's good. So I like a long time span romance.
you like a long romance.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Melina says Piper and her unreachable love interests, like the episode where she falls in love with a character from a film who comes to life. Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's a great one.
I forgot about
Chick flick.
that one.
Oh yeah, Speedway Chick. So I feel like I've really missed out with the music watching on ITVX. Yeah, it's a shame
This
they
is
just
why
lost
I
the music
brought.
rights.
This is why I brought the Blu-ray because I was just like, I can't deal with not
Yeah,
hearing because it just has so much power, like to the scenes. I
yeah.
think it just does add to it definitely.
Stargazer says I'm getting the Blu-ray after the chat. We're gonna see
Yeah,
sales go boom.
yeah.
Why have we got a sales spike here? Couldn't
All
explain it.
these Blu-rays.
Yeah, why is it suddenly selling? Yeah.
Oh
Um.
dear.
Oh yeah, Speedway Chicks is up. I wasn't prepared for that start. Yeah.
Oh,
Sad, sad, sad. No
yeah.
Pixar.
And even in this episode as well, the love between Mark and his mom
Oh
as well.
yeah.
Oh,
And he knows her so,
he
so well because he's like, if you
loves
speak
his
Chinese, she'll
mom.
trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
and then I
lovely.
think I wrote down a line where um, I think he says, "All those stories, all those legends you taught me, you saved my soul, mom."
Yeah,
Oh, and I was just like, oh, I was a mess, Josh.
yeah. That whole end
A
bit is
mess.
just
Yeah.
waterfalls. Yeah. Let's move on to work. Let's work it.
Work it.
Work it. Yeah.
It's a new thing now.
Work it. So Phoebe gets a job as a hotel psychic. Even though I noticed that in the classifieds right below it, there's like a driver needed. So that could have been maybe a less
Yeah.
tricky job. Anyway. So did you enjoy her work plotline? It's the first time we've seen her doing a job. Did
Yeah.
you enjoy it?
I loved her. And it just reinforced why I loved her so much when I was a teen as well. Because she rocked that outfit. She looked gorgeous in that outfit. Um, like even like with the little three gems as well. That's like sign of the times, like down the face. But oh yeah, I loved it. And when she was like talking to the woman about you didn't lose weight, I was like, oh.
Oh, honey, it looks like you've gained some weight.
She's like, I haven't cheated.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, bless her.
yeah,
But yeah, that whole thing, I just loved it. And I just, whoever designed the costume, thought of the scenes for her to do, I thought were
yeah.
brilliant.
Because she's
And the
kind of
whole
wearing like
thing,
a bit of an I Dream of Genie,
yeah,
A Genie costume essentially.
yeah.
Yeah,
But the
bright
whole thing
pink.
as well, that she has to save the guy.
Yeah,
She can't just leave him, like even though he's arrogant to her and doesn't want to know. And the husband of the
yes,
wife as well,
the
which
Weight
I thought
Watchers
was a
on
good twist.
it.
She
Yeah,
still goes out of her way to save him. And I thought, yeah, I like that. She's using her powers for good.
yeah. I kind of love that. Like that wouldn't have been a problem. So is this a personal gain thing? Because personal gain comes
Mm,
up and says that she can't use her powers for her own
yeah.
personal gain. So she can't gain anything from using her powers. But
Mm,
she says, Phoebe brushes it off and says, I'm doing it for proof. But then
mm,
she has a premonition about a guy dying, so she has to save him.
yeah.
But the guy only legs it out into traffic because she is chasing him, trying to save him.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
the personal gain conversation does kind of get resolved and
Mm,
does work itself out because she does
yeah.
kind of get punished for
Yeah, she
using her powers
does.
for personal gain.
Yeah.
She kind of has to work for that 20
Mm,
bucks.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
universe is saying you're going to have to work for this.
Yeah.
So,
And I love how full her jar is as well.
yeah,
She's
a
jar
jar
a lot of
runneth
money in
over.
there. Yeah. But no,
Yeah,
that is true. And it was Phoebe before about the personal game with the lottery ticket as well, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So she's trying to like navigate that, isn't she? Really? Oh,
Okay.
are you there? Oh, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Sorry, my battery's died.
Oh no, we've been talking for a while,
I
haven't
know.
we?
Sorry, say that again.
I forgot what I
Oh.
said now. Oh, I was saying that she always explores that personal game thing in the past few episodes with the lottery ticket, and
Yeah.
then obviously here. So she's trying to always push it and find a way around it. I think
Yeah.
a little bit, but she was doing it for good. Just think,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
She had good
exactly.
intentions.
And it was genuinely laugh out loud, sort of like sitcom, almost like a Frasier episode. Like the
Yeah.
moment when she confronts him, and he's kind of like, "Oh, you're gonna tell me of my fortune?" And then she's like, "Did you get my note?" And he's like, "What? You're the one who left me that note saying don't go outside."
And I think Alyssa Milano's comedy timing in this is like just chef's kiss perfect as
Yeah,
well.
it's so
And
fun.
she
Like
does
the
do
way
comedy well,
she's
doesn't she?
so funny. The way she casually mentions that she snapped a key off in his door so that he couldn't leave the room.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's brilliant. But
so good.
yeah, I do love her doing
Yeah.
comedy. I've watched a TV series with her in, I think it's called Insatiable,
Oh,
which got a
yeah.
bit questionable on the
Yeah.
topic, but it was like really wild and hilarious
Hmm.
if you don't look too deep at it. Because obviously it does cover about eating disorders to a certain extent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But Alyssa Milano in that was perfect comedy timing again. She's brilliant in it.
Yeah.
Really,
I
really
didn't know
good.
she was in that.
Yeah, I'm sure
Oh,
she is. Yeah, I'm sure
good reason
she
to
is.
watch.
Yeah, give it
Yeah.
a go. I thought it was good. You just got to push past some of the things that are a bit like, oh, this might be a bit wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Oh,
just got to push past it a little
yeah.
bit.
All right. That sounds like a sign of the times entry point, if I've ever
Yeah.
heard one. Um, so did you spot any signs of the times in this one?
So honestly, right, the only thing I wrote down was the dodgy CGI ghost stuff because some of the
Oh,
CGI was a little bit bad. But other than that, I think I was too busy like emotionally invested that I didn't notice anything.
yeah.
How about you?
I wrote one thing down, and it's taken me 4 episodes to
Yeah,
notice this. I don't think we mentioned this last episode,
yeah,
but the like huge proliferation of landline phones.
yeah. That's true.
Everybody's got landline phones. Everyone's using them all the
Yeah.
time. Answering machines. Um,
Oh yeah, the answering
yeah,
machine. Yeah.
like nobody's really using a cell phone
Mm,
at all,
that's
really.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Ah,
90s.
good
I
spot.
I would love to go back to that,
Yeah,
frankly. Yeah.
definitely.
If people phone me now, I worry. I'm like, why are you phoning me?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
missed call from my sister on Friday morning, and I was like, oh shit,
Oh,
and there was nothing.
yeah, it does make you panic. Yeah,
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 I agree.
yeah.
See, and in the good old days, you wouldn't know who was
That's
phoning you.
true. Do I
Yeah.
pick up? Do I not pick up? Yeah.
Oh, good old days.
So let's talk about Demon of the Week.
Mm.
We actually have two types of threat this episode.
Yeah,
We have our first human villain,
yeah,
who is it Tony Wong? He's the gang leader
yeah. The gang
who
leader.
killed Mark in order to sort of fake his own death.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have the demonic Yama coming for Mark's
Mm.
soul. Did you have a favourite? Like, which did you enjoy the most out of those two?
I think I enjoyed Yama the most just for the mythology. But I did I did love that scene with Tony when like Piper freezes time and she makes him hold the newspaper. He's like, oh dear. But
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, for me it was Yama. Yama was definitely my demon of the episode. But
yeah,
yeah. How about
yeah.
you?
I I did like Yama. I thought he looked really cool, and it was good to have sort of like something that looked genuinely
Mm,
demonic.
yeah.
Um, But I think one of the fundamental problems of the show, maybe earlier on, is like when Piper can freeze some like a demon or like a
Yeah.
baddie. This demon is like regal as hell, like really
Mm,
impressive, really like, oh my god, what is that
yeah.
thing? And then she just freezes him,
Yeah,
and
that's
you kind of go,
true.
oh, it's fine.
So she can freeze anything,
Yeah,
you know.
and they kind of get
Yeah.
through that in later episodes where people fight through the freeze, or
Mm,
freezing doesn't work on certain levels of demons. So they figure their way around it. But with this one, it was a
yeah.
bit like it kind of sucked the tension and the stakes
Mm,
out of him being around, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like in a future episode, maybe in like a future not very good episode, he
Mm.
probably would have stolen the soul of like one of the sisters,
Oh, yeah.
to maybe up the stakes a bit that way.
Yeah.
But I prefer that he didn't, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it worked much better this way.
Yeah, because in that respect, if you think about it, he wasn't as scary as the real life villains that were going on, with their guns and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it brought a human element to it, that it's not just these demons that the sisters are having to, watch their back and be careful of and fight.
Mm.
It's humans too. It's not just
Yeah. Oh
demons.
yeah.
And that's a good little lesson to learn as well.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's quite shocking what Tony Wong
Mm.
does. Like he shoots him, and then we watch him full on burn the body.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
horrific.
Yeah. It's really quite graphic.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
poor
he's
Mark.
not a very nice man.
Not a very nice man. But that whole end scene when all the sisters come together and like obviously Piper's been kidnapped, which they got her back to their little lair like really
Yeah.
quickly as well.
Yeah.
So that whole scene with the bullet being frozen and stuff like that, I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool.
I
Yeah.
love Prue's just pure balls of like
Yeah.
moving so she's in the line of fire for the bullet to look at it and then back
Yeah.
again. So
She's not scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stargazer says, I think this is a sign of the times, the old-fashioned camera that Piper used.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
this as well, actually. I thought, well, now she's going to have to wait at least an hour to get that developed. Yeah, we didn't see all that stuff going on.
And the photo might not have come out. It could have been like, when you used to get like that hazy, like you hadn't took it properly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There was risks involved.
Sharon says, how do you freeze death? Which is a good point, actually, because in later episodes, they can't freeze death.
Interesting.
I think Piper tries and she's pissed off because he won't freeze.
Yeah. Okay.
C.L. Ingram says, what I liked about this episode was that the bad guy in this wasn't really the demon, but a human.
Mm.
Yeah. Very true. Lane's Library says the newspaper, laughing emoji.
Yeah, that killed me, that did. I was laughing. But I think he needed that in that moment because it had been so emotional, and then that just was like a good bit of comedy, along with Phoebe's comedy. It was good contrast.
Totally. Stargazer says, I think this is about the picture, the camera. She'd have to finish the roll to be able to get the format and develop it. That was always so annoying.
In fact, she was trying to take pictures of Mark, like, stand still.
Yeah.
Need to remember you.
All right, let's hear some charming dialogue.
Oh, okay. I've got one. Well, I think I've got two. Yeah. So I've got the one where Phoebe goes, I think to no, not Phoebe. Piper goes to see Phoebe, and Phoebe goes, I am so busted, aren't I? And Piper goes, are you out of your mind? And Phoebe goes, no, I'm the amazing Phoebe. She's like, and I love that. I thought that was funny. But as I say, it was a good contrast to have the comedy with all the emotion. Yeah. And then the second one I wrote down was at the end where Piper goes, so I think it's when the Tony has been killed, And Piper goes, I've never seen anybody killed before. And Phoebe goes, Jeremy. And then Prue goes, Javna. And Piper goes, I mean humans.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was really good writing.
Yeah.
That was
I
brilliant.
love that bit. Yeah.
What did you have?
I actually did just think of a slight sign of the times, which was when Prue said that Mark and Tony Wong looked quite similar.
Oh,
I
yes.
was like, they don't
Yeah,
really.
no, not
Very
really.
similar. Sorry. So going back to the charming dialogue, I liked Phoebe's. This quote actually, weirdly, when she said it, I remembered that my mum, I must have watched this episode with my mum
Oh,
years ago. And she kind of said, yeah, I kind of agree with this. Phoebe says, give to get. That is the secret of life, not our powers. Which I think was quite a
yeah.
nice little lesson
Yeah,
to have.
that is nice.
Yeah.
Mm,
So we've had a couple in the comments as well. Trina said one of my favourites, leave it to me to fall for a dead guy.
Oh.
And
And
Phoebe
then
says,
at
is an
least he
improvement.
wasn't or at least he wasn't a warlock, I
Yeah.
think, or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Oh yeah, CLing agrees that they did not even look remotely similar. Yeah, totally. All right, so who is your sister of the week?
Now, this is tough because I think all three were sisters of the weeks in this episode for me. Because as I said before, they've all gone on their little different journeys in this episode. If I really had to pick, I'd say obviously Piper because of the love story and that. But I think there's an argument for all three in this one.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Like as I was sitting down to try to decide, I was like, I can't decide.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're all brilliant in this one.
Yeah.
I think maybe like if you had to put them in order of being great, it probably is Piper, Phoebe, Prue.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
But what surprised me was, having watched this episode millions of times and loving it, I had forgotten that actually Piper and Mark don't really become the A plot until almost halfway through the episode.
Yeah, quite late in the episode.
Which just is kind of like, it blows my mind that they managed to cover so much amazing emotional ground in basically 20 minutes.
Yeah,
less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But that's the strength of the writing, I think, definitely in this one.
Yeah.
They just really got it just so right.
Yeah.
So right.
And it's almost like this episode kind of both rewards you and spoils you as a Charmed fan, because now you know how great this show can be and you won't accept anything less.
Yeah.
And when I was watching this episode, like there's a moment where Prue and Piper are talking. I think they're in Prue's bedroom, Prue and Phoebe are talking in Prue's bedroom. And it's just this really lovely, warm moment. And it just kind of made me feel a little bit sad, actually, that the show could be so great. Yeah. But also, it wasted a lot of time messing around, I think.
But I think back then you had so many episodes, didn't you? Like nowadays, obviously seasons or series are shorter, so they have to pack. You don't get those filler episodes. Like I'm rewatching Lost at the moment because Corey's never seen it, so Corey's watching it, and there's so many filler episodes. Like it's ridiculous. So
how did they do it? Like when I look at a show now and it's 22 episodes, I get tired. I think I get tired for the people who made the show. It's like that is a lot of story.
Yeah, definitely. And like I think if I think back to Prison Break as well around that time, except series 1, but definitely the later series, so much filler. Like it just But obviously they had to do what they had to do to get through the 22, 24 episodes they were commissioned for, I guess.
Yeah, and it's why you get things like in Friends, you get Rachel and Joey randomly having this bizarre love thing because they're like, what haven't we done yet? Oh, we haven't done that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason you haven't done it yet, guys, because it sucks. Don't do it.
But it does it can ruin a show having too much filler. That's the problem. It really can.
Yeah, I think that I listened to an interesting podcast about writers working in Hollywood now on
Yeah.
TV shows, and how back in the heyday of those 22 episode shows, a writer could make a living as a writer on a TV show because you were there for the full year. You were working throughout the year on 22 episodes. You were prepping in the summer.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you get hired for like a 10 episode season and you're done in a couple of months and suddenly you're unemployed again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it does have
It's tough.
an effect.
Yeah, it
But
has enough kind of effect.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right, we've come to the end, which means we have to score this episode out of 5 brooms. So how many brooms are you going to give Dead Man Dating?
This is going to be my five star. Yeah, 5 brooms. Sorry, not 5 star.
It can get 5 stars and 5 brooms.
Yeah, 5 stars and 5 brooms, because I think the writing was good, the emotional connection was good, all of the sisters were fantastic. And I love how it shows it's not just demons but also evil people in the world, and the messaging, just the whole thing was just brilliant. And I cried like a baby by the end. And that's always a good sign.
Yeah.
How about you?
I would also give it 5 brooms. I'd give it 6. I'd give it 6 brooms.
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's fantastic.
It just became the benchmark for the show. And it's interesting that the behind the scenes, the writers knew it as well. They knew they had something special, and they basically spent the next 8 years trying to capture that same lightning bottle.
Yeah, and as I say, I think from what I read, and you can really feel it, is that they really, all the sisters came into their own. They knew exactly then from this episode exactly where they wanted the characters to go. You know, and I just think, it's such a pivotal, and it's only episode 4 as well, which is such a pivotal episode. I loved it.
You might even say it was magical.
It was magical. Yeah.
We've got lots of 5 brooms here. Sharon says 5 brooms. Speedway Chick says all the brooms. Stargazer 5 brooms. CL Ingram says 4.5 brooms, maybe 5.
Yeah,
I respect that. Lane's Library says 5. Georgia says 7. Georgia,
love that.
We know what you're like. Speedway Chick says, have we peaked?
Only time will tell when we see the next 2.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I can't believe we've been talking for like almost 2 hours.
But the thing is, like, there's so much to talk about, like, with the episodes, and even just like going a bit of a trip down memory lane as well. And there is so much to cover, because they pack so much into every episode that we would be doing it injustice by talking any less than 2 hours. No, definitely. I've loved it. It's been so good, and you've been such a good host, Josh. We said we'd take it in turns as well. When we came up, so we said we'd take it in turns with each other, and you've done such a good job. And it was so different for me not to be asking the questions as well. So it was nice.
You were a great guest. You weren't the guest, you were the co-host. But
but so it's nice to be the guest.
Next month we're going to be talking about episodes 5 and 6, which are Dream Sorcerer and The Wedding from Hell. I'm just going to warn you now, it's going to be a bit rough.
But just stick with it.
There's some good stuff. There is some good stuff in there, but we're not talking A-grade Charmed. But
we're not talking 5 brooms.
We'll be lucky to get 5 brooms between us across all 2 episodes.
You wait, I'll come and I'll be like, Josh, it was a 5 broom.
You're crazy, it's brilliant.
Awesome. No, I can't wait.
Great. Thanks, Shelley.
Thanks Josh. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
For joining in.
See you next month. Bye.
Stay charmed.
Bye.